Hello everybody, welcome back to our not Carthage, bloody hell, Seleukid campaign.
Having a bit of short-term memory loss there, are you Knagooses?
Getting a bit momentary brain fart, a lot happening today, you know.
Well anyway, my name is Icarix, and the guy with memory loss here is Knagooses, in case you couldn't tell.
Anyways, so a daughter called Alexandra has just come of age. So yes, we had last letter we had settled a sally outside of Marian capital Pura, a garrison sally, and won. This is where I had initially fought a siege battle, but the game crashed, so I decided here I'll just not have that hassle and just let it the garrison sally out. This caused confusion on my dear friends and dear editor's end, causing further hiccups, though not like you can see this. Yes, we're now auto-resolving the remnants of that garrison so we can occupy the city.
So everything worked out diddly dandy in the end.
Yes, we've just raised it because it's not of our culture. So we're building the usual buildings. It's in the province of Maca. That's what they call it in DEI. So yes, things are going pretty well. I believe you've got, looking at the AOR units, some interesting stuff. Indo-Hellenic Spears, Indo-Hellenic Peltas, the Mace Men. Some pretty good stuff. It's going to take some time to get the culture conversion going, because it is a predominantly Hindu province. So it's going to take a while for our Greek culture to start growing.
Oh, I didn't know they were Hindu.
Well, it's the whole. This is Mari, and they were effectively kind of Hindu because it's India.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
So the culture added into DEI to represent the Marians, because again they were not a faction in Rome 2 Vanilla. They were only added in DEI.
Speaking of which, have there been any more updates about Warhammer 3 or anything like that?
Nothing really. I'm trying to think now. So patch 5.1 came out a while ago. That added a new legendary hero, Karanak, which is a special kind of flesh hound for Khorne, one of the Chaos Gods, the Blood God. I've only briefly used him in my Scarbrand. I did a campaign as I was playing a campaign as Scarbrand, a demon for Khorne. It's kind of interesting. It's interesting to play as Khorne and the quirky mechanics of that faction. But Scarbrand's whole thing is that he's this particularly big deal demon of Khorne, a special kind of bloodthirster who tried to attack Khorne. And he tried to attack Khorne, and so he's in exile, and he's trying to get Khorne's favor by spilling enough blood and offering enough skulls for his skull throne. And in that campaign, I basically got to play a bit with Karanak in that regard. But there was a couple of hot fixes that released for it now, and that's kind of it. We don't have any major news other than just we know there's another DLC coming in the next several months, which is going to focus on Khorne, the Greenskins, and the Ogres. And
knowing their track records, there's no doubt that there's going to be a few issues upon release.
Well,
knowing their track record so far.
Maybe
slightly leaning more towards
well,
maybe slightly leaning towards a yes.
But, Thrones of Decay, which is the last DLC that just came out, had not that many issues. So overall, the release was really solid.
Okay.
The biggest gripe that some people have, and well, there's many gripes, but a notable gripe that some people have, and I would kind of agree, is that the legendary hero for Nurgle, Kha'Zix the Befouled, is only exclusive to Tamarkan's faction, which is a shame. You can, if you play as other Nurgle factions like Epidemius or Kugath, if you confederate Tamarkan, you can get Kashyyyk then, but that's it. Other than maybe kind of an exploit, there doesn't seem to be a way to get him for anybody else, which is a shame.
Why not?
It's just whatever way CA designed, because I suppose the part of the problem is that Kashyyyk is baked into a special mechanic of Tamarkan's. Tamarkan has a special, what I call chieftains mechanic, so the gist of the lore as I understand it, I am not really that versed in Warhammer lore, but I learned bits and pieces. Tamarkan is a kind of this mutant maggot. He was a man who got turned into this big maggot by Nurgle. And basically he occupies different bodies, particularly people who might kill him. I put kill in kind of inverted commas here. And he would possess their bodies. And though for the purposes of the game, he is inside the body of an ogre tyrant.
Wouldn't it be more demon or something like that? Someone who can take over bodies? Like an evil spirit or something?
He's not really a demon, no, because the thing is he was a mortal who got mutated by the chaos god Nurgle, into this maggot, that this big, disgusting maggot thing that occupies bodies. Like physically goes inside bodies and takes control of them.
So more like a parasite.
Kind of, yes, but it, you know. So
I mean, like it just acts like a parasite, but
yeah.
He's
so he's inside the body of this ogre tyrant to the purposes of the game, and he gets a special mount, Bubabolos, which is a toad dragon, pretty cool. But anyways, the whole story of Tamarkan, as far as I understand, he leads a massive warband, which includes help from the Chaos Dwarfs and all these different lots, attacking the Empire. The Empire. He's eventually beaten when he attacks the city of N, which is where the big gunnery school of the Empire is. And yeah. So with this, Tamarkan seems to probably have some particular special group of fighters and champions with him. One of them is this guy called Kashyyyk the Befouled, who has offered so much of himself to Nurgle, he's even lost his voice. Because he even gave that as a gift to Nurgle, basically, as far as I understand. But he's an interesting character in that way. He's mounted on a creature called a Rot Beast, and he's always mounted. There's no way to dismount him. He's just always mounted on the Rot Beast. But so in the game, Tamarkan can get these special like pseudo-legendary heroes that are chieftains, which give him access to certain other units he may not normally have access to. And Kashyyyk is the first one you get. Like, you get him really early in the campaign. And so he's baked into that mechanic, and my guess is it's probably tricky to get him not in that sense. It's probably tricky to kind of have him not be tied to that mechanic and to be available to other factions. Because other legendary heroes tend to be available through like quest chains. Like, if you want to get Echoed Hellbrass, there's a quest chain for him.
Okay.
So, it's just the way it was designed, and that is a bit of a gripe that some people have, you know. But otherwise, it's a solid DLC. So, you know, we can just hope that CA do what's right and do a solid job with this. And many don't think this DLC is that, in a sense, possibly demanding. Khorne and the Greenskins are largely seen as being in a pretty good place in terms of faction mechanics, just a few small tweaks. Ogres probably need a more substantive rework, but even that's probably not so huge as far as I understand. I was definitely thought that this will finish off the ogres. They don't really have a whole lot left of material as far as I understand to cover.
Okay, well, I guess we'll just have to hope for the best then.
Yeah, I hope for the best. This won't be till like near the end of the year, I think.
Okay, well, it gives them some time at least, but knowing the video game industry and like how long these things actually take, you know, maybe we're counting our hedges a little bit in regards to like the time frame that this is taking, but
We'll have to
you never
see.
know, they might turn it around. I guess we'll just have to
They
try and be
announced
optimistic.
They announced it weeks ago, and they've been working on it probably for a little while, because what was noticed with the game files for Thrones of Decay was that Goldfag Maneater, this is the new legendary lord for the ogres that's coming in this update, in this DLC, was included in the files, and even his model was there.
Okay.
So there's clearly been some work done prior to the announcement. And we know the CA Sophia is getting involved, and they're one of the more solid CA studios.
Oh, alright then.
They've been the ones working on games like Pharaoh, and they also worked on other stuff, so they're pretty solid, and people have been thinking it'd be good if Sophia get involved, and they're especially good for designing interesting campaign mechanics.
I guess that's a hint of a silver lining that we can latch on to there.
Oh yeah. But yeah, so to get into a bit of focus here, we are now fighting a settlement battle at Capsene. We'll see what happens.
Who are we up against?
Maria.
Moria, right.
So it's just the Marian garrison. So we've got our archers, which are a mishmash of Indian longbowmen, Syrian archers, etc. Firing down on the enemy. Of course, they're the governor's guard, but they're not going to be taking too much damage from it because they're reasonable armor and dense shield formation. Removing some of our cavalry in. This is our Tarentines and our Gallo-Thracians to engage with the enemy cavalry. So it should go well for us because those are light skirmish cav we're up against.
What kind of armor do the Morians wear?
I've no idea historically, but I am to infer what's shown in this. Scale armor and a bell cuirass seems to be the main types of body armor in use.
And they're made out of metal, yeah?
Yes, metal, of course. Helmets don't seem to be too common from what I'm seeing, at least again as depicted in this mod, which I trust is to an extent fairly authentic. DEI tries to be, and I know there was a bit of an overhaul made some time ago, but we've talked before how I know next to nothing really historically about Marians and how their military works, and I don't know of any resources on it. I've not really looked into enough to know if there's anything in English. Odds are there mightn't be a whole lot.
All the same, it's a ballsy move on their part not to wear helmets like that.
Different people do different things. Again, some of them are wearing helmets, clearly, but
some don't wear helmets, some don't wear armor, some even go in the nip, you know? It's
yeah, and there's all sorts of reasons for that. Sometimes that's what they can afford, sometimes it's just the way their culture goes.
And then sometimes it's often due to like public perception as well. They want to know, it's like how they want to be perceived on the battlefield.
I suppose to a certain extent people want to project their status, people want to showcase themselves, show off in some ways. It's just the way it works. You know, people that are wealthy like to have some sort of fancy adornments to their armor that showcases the fact that they are wealthy and important. You know, wearing armor itself is probably not enough in that regard. You need some sort of decoration. Gauls had all sorts of fancy decorations on their helmets, you know, animals being depicted and stuff. The Romans, well, nothing too special I suppose, but in their earlier kind of Republican periods, a lot of the times they had little feathers on their helmets. Probably those a bit better off and more elite who've had full crests. Then I think helmets kind of bit on the simpler side. Don't think any sort of tattoos that became particularly common in the later stages. But yes. So We had our Thrail spears clashing the enemy, but we moved them out and sent in our Thrail swords. So, yes. Oh yeah, a new DEI beta has just been rolled out.
Yeah?
Yeah, so it's still of course in the works, but yeah, we've got
Any thoughts on it so far?
I've not played it.
Oh, okay.
Because I
Well,
haven't
what have
played
other
the-
people said about it?
I don't know, I haven't paid too much attention, but I've just seen some of the content and it seemed to be not too crazy. Most some visual overhauls are still in the works. Nabatean's got a bit of an overhaul. I think the Getai are getting one, but no, it's already there. There's a few more stuff being planned out. I think Cartley's getting some visual changes.
Nothing too shabby.
Nothing too crazy, I don't think. Yeah. So yes, our Syrian elephants are engaging with the townsfolk. Pretty neat,
All nice and comfy in that shiny armor of theirs.
well, it's probably not very comfortable.
It kind of looks comfy. I know it probably isn't comfortable. It kind of looks comfortable based on the texture that you can see.
Suppose, but it probably wouldn't be very comfortable, especially if it's hot.
Oh, I know.
Especially
I know in
if
real
it's
life it
nice.
probably wouldn't have been the most comfiest armor to wear. But all the same, I guess just based off the textures that I'm seeing, it kind of does.
Well, it would probably look a little snug.
You could say that again.
So our elephants crash into the back of the enemy blob, which would be quite damaging to them, and it's probably starting to make them round. Our guildsmen are coming in to help. Yeah,
It's
of
like a
course, this
million
kind of
battering
armor
rams
on
all at
elephants
once.
would be extremely expensive.
Really?
Well, yeah, armor's expensive anyway. Then you're trying to make it in large sizes to put on top of elephants. That's a pretty
You
high
think it would take
expense.
them? You think it would take them days upon weeks to make that sort of armor on a regular
Probably a lot
basis?
longer than that, I would say. I don't know how long it takes to make armor, but I imagine it takes a while to make armor even for just a regular person. Though I suppose it depends on the armor to some extent. Male armor would take probably quite a while because there's loads of small iron rings being made.
And then you have to factor in the different sizes and everything.
To some extent, yeah. Though I suppose in this time period, male armor is just like a simple, almost like a tunic. It's nothing too much. Like you're not getting mail that covers the entire arms and stuff. That doesn't come till later. A male cuirass is in this time period more what they call tube and yoke style. It's just like almost just like a shirt, and then there's possibly an extra layer over the shoulders. The arms are exposed. The legs aren't covered anymore. It's not till probably late antiquity that we have male cuirasses that go as far as covering the whole arms. Change, that's kind of different design style of it, but yeah. But yeah, the battle's obviously going pretty well. We've cleared up one front. Just going to move around.
I see we're potentially in the routing phase right now. At least
Probably
moving
gonna
our
get closer,
forces.
but it's not much for
least
them to rout, so just once we end the battle, the garrison's wiped out.
Either way, we're advancing forward,
Yep.
going by our Syrian elephants.
First, we're sending our Thrail swords to charge out, engaging those townsfolk.
Would Morian townsfolk be decent enough fighters? So they're just like cannon fodder.
Sort of. I guess the ideal function for their job is to be, I suppose, a weak hammer for your anvil.
Okay, that's putting it very lightly.
In the sense that in hammer and anvil tactics, you have the anvil to hold the enemy in place and the hammer to, well, hit. And so I guess the idea about the townsfolk is that you have your governor's guard to be your sturdy spearmen, they're your anvil. I suppose the townsfolk and possibly also to some extent the cavalry can function as your hammer to hit the enemy from behind and to even potentially chase down skirmishers.
Yeah, I suppose.
You know, it's probably the way it's meant to function.
Yeah, looks like we're doing some heavy damage there regardless.
Yes, our spears were holding the general there, and then cavalry charging from behind. So yeah. But yes, and we're back. Yeah, I'm just thinking back to that rear charge could have potentially damaged my cavalry had expert charge defense still been there. That was a trait that was in Rome too, but they got rid of it indeed a little while ago. Cam got rid of it.
Did it just not work out very well for them?
It
Or?
wasn't working properly. It was pretty bugged, as he says. The problem could be that sometimes it almost worked too well. Sometimes your cavalry.
They got rid of it because it worked too well.
Well, it was kind of bugged in the sense that what happened was if cavalry were, say, charging behind the unit of spears, even though you hit them from the back, the expert charge defense could have dished that charge damage back. Which isn't really right if you're being hit from behind. So he got rid of it and made a few tweaks so things kind of worked out better.
Did it work out better?
Well, seemingly. The point is, I suppose, that he ups, I think, the mass of the anti-catapults of spearmen. And that is the sort of solution around it. As otherwise they probably melt from the charge if they didn't have expert charge defense. Cam knows his battles. He knows how this stuff works very well.
Okay, I guess we'll just have to take them at its word then.
They spent years modifying this.
I know.
That is all we have today. This is a bit on the shorter side.
Yeah, the reason this is on the shorter side is because
It's
I
down to
initially
the
had
error that he made. This is actually
I
how we
initially
caught
had
on
like
to the
2
mistake.
replays for this, but because I had to switch them around, I had to decrease them back to just 1. So that's why this is more on the shorter side, but hopefully our next video will have a longer length than this, because by then all the replays will be efficiently and properly sorted out by then, and we can get back on track then.
Yeah, pretty much.
But either way, thanks for joining us. Be sure to leave a comment, like, and subscribe, and we'll see you all very soon.
Thanks for watching.